Welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna Coles, and today we're visiting with Dr. Chris Teutsch. He's with the University of Kentucky Extension Forage Specialist there. Well, Chris, I'm glad you're here today because we're going to talk a little bit about hay. And in Kentucky, we make a lot of hay, but we can always leave room for improvement. And you're going to give us some tips today about how to improve our hay quality.
The first thing I want to say is that the most efficient way to harvest forage is with the animal. So grazing, we really need to promote grazing and graze as many days of the year as we possibly can. But we always need to feed some hay during stressful periods like drought or during the winter months. So having good quality hay is really important because the number one factor impacting rebreeding in beef cattle is body condition score at calving. So if we have poor hay quality, we'll have a lot of thin cows, and that's going to negatively impact our reproductive efficiency in cow-calf herds. So making sure we're doing a good job with our hay quality is really important. I can look at hay and tell you, well, that's a pretty decent hay, or this lot of hay is better than this lot of hay, but really to determine the nutritional value of that hay, we need to be testing it. And that's really, really important. If we test our hay, then it gives us a quantitative measure of the quality of that hay, and then we can say, yes, it's going to meet the nutritional requirements of our animals, or no, it's not going to. And if it's not going to, then I can develop a supplementation strategy for that hay. Ideally, the best thing we can do is produce better quality hay, then we need less supplement, and we'll be meeting the nutritional needs of our animals with that hay.
But sometimes in Kentucky, it's a challenge.
We get our hay ready, and we know that the single most important factor impacting hay quality is stage of maturity at harvest. So in the cool season grasses, we want to be harvesting our hay at the late boot stage. That's when that seed head is just coming out of the last leaf of the grass plant. That's going to give us the best compromise between forage quality and yield. But what happens?
It rains.
It rains. That's
weather
right.
Doesn't cooperate.
That's exactly right. So we've got the worst curing conditions at that time, and the highest chance of rainfall, and then on top of that, it's the heaviest cutting that we'll make of the year. So it's hard to get that cured sometimes. So ideally, if we can't cut exactly at the right time, one tool that we have that helps us harvest that on time would be baleage. So that allows us to cut one day and harvest the next day. With dry hay, we need about a 4-day period to really get it mowed, cured, and baled. And we're getting less and less 4-day periods in the spring without rain.
Now, some producers might say, well, I don't have the equipment to do that.
A lot of times you can find a neighbor that has a wrapper that can help you get that hay baled up. The plastic is a challenge after you feed it. So I put plastic on to wrap the bale, and I put on about 6 layers to make sure that I get good oxygen exclusion and I get good fermentation in that bale. But when I feed it out, I have all that plastic left. And that always begs the question of what you do with that. And we don't have a really good answer for that, to be honest with you. We don't want to burn it, although that's what my dad would do. And we a lot of times landfill it. I'm working on a project right now with an engineer in the College of Engineering at UK, where we're taking baleage film, or that plastic that we wrap the bale with, and turning it into a fuel through a process. So it's kind of an interesting project, and it's just getting started.
You know, with the weather, if we could do some baleage, but what are some other things, cutting on time if possible?
Right.
But are there any other tips that you'd like to share?
Sure. So we know that legumes tend to be higher, so things like clover and alfalfa tend to be higher in forage quality than grasses. So overseeding our pastures with red clover, or having mixed stands of clover and grass is going to improve forage quality. We see that on a pretty regular basis. Other things that we can do is making sure we use a conditioning system when we cut our hay. So a lot of times we'll just use a disc mower, but the disc mower doesn't crush the stems, and that's really important in that first cutting. When we crush the stems, or we have a flail impeller type conditioning systems where we're breaking those stems, then we're going to let moisture escape, and we're going to get that crop down to the moisture where it's safe to bale. And we really want to be around 18% for round bales.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.